Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well folks, it's time once again to go back to the world of Pokemon. And boy, do I have a real surprise for you today. You know, this year has been really booming due to me blogging several Pokemon films this year. However, did you guys hear that there's going to be a CGI remake of one of the older Pokemon films? Well, when I heard about it, I asked myself, why? But anyway, for this episode, I'm going to go way back to 1999, to the Kanto season, to see how the original first movie holds up to me. Released in Japan on July 18, 1998, and in America on November 10, 1999, the movie is Pokemon the First Movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. So, let's get started. When a group of scientists are offered fundings into genetic research if they agree to try and clone the ancient Pokemon Mew, the end result is success, and Mewtwo is born. However, Mewtwo is bitter about his purpose in life and kills his masters. In order to become the greatest, he throws open a challenge to the world to battle him and his cloned Pokemon. Ash and his friends are one of the few groups of trainers who pass the first test and prepare for battle. However, they soon find out about further cloning and Mewtwo's ultimate plan for the Earth. So, what do I personally think of the movie? Well, like Porco Rosso, it's good, but it could have been a hell of a lot better. But let's move on to Mustang notes. Kuniko Yuyama directed the original Japanese version of the movie, while Choji Yoshikawa and Taichi Shudo served as producer and scriptwriter, respectively. The film wasn't produced by Pikachu Project. Shudo explained in his blog that Mewtwo being torn over his life purpose reflects the film's theme of existentialism. In the Japanese script, for instance, the moment Mewtwo realizes he has a right to be in the world just as much as any other living creature represents the central message of accepting one's existence. According to Shudo, certain episodes in the anime were intended to tie in with the movie prior to its release in Japan and provide background behind the events in the movie. However, the controversy surrounding the Denyo Shenshi Porygon episode delayed the tie-in episodes, causing Shudo to expand the beginning of the movie and thus the length of the film. Norman J. Grossfeld, former president of 4Kids Productions, served as the film's producer for the English-language North American version. Grossfeld, along with Michael Hagney and John Tohey, wrote the English adaptation, and Hagney served as the English version's voice director. The English script was heavily edited from the original Japanese one, along with various content edits. Mewtwo was portrayed more maliciously because Grossfeld felt American audiences needed to see a clearly evil villain rather than a morally ambiguous one. As such, the existentialist themes such as seen in the Japanese version were significantly toned down. Plus, this movie was an instant commercial success here in America, debuting at, number 1 and earning about $10.1 million on its Wednesday opening day. That day was commonly referred to as the Poke Flu, because so many children missed out on school to see the movie. The film earned about $85.7 million in North America and $77.9 million in other territories, making it the highest grossing anime film in the United States, the fourth highest grossing animated film based on a television show worldwide, and the highest grossing movie based on a video game at the time until 2001's Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Now, you may have already heard me say that I wasn't always a Pokemon fan when I was young, but when my dad took me to see this movie in theaters without me even asking to, I completely got into not only the Pokemon TV show, but also the old Pokemon games. Anyway, in my opinion, the animation for this movie is amazing. I mean, it's classical 90s Japanese animation, so there's nothing to complain about here. However, there are times when the movie becomes very violent, thought-provoking, and dark, especially for the young audience. For example, some parts of the opening prologue and the battles between Cory's Venusaur, Nisha's Blastoise, Ash's Charizard, and their clone counterparts. Speaking of the prologue, there are a couple parts that reference a couple episodes from the Kanto season, like when we see Mewtwo battle Gary's Nidoking and Arcanine, which was in the Battle of the Badge episode, and the scene where Mewtwo destroys Giovanni's headquarters, which was witnessed by Jessie, James, and Meowth in the Showdown at the Poke Corral episode. I also like how Mewtwo's palace on New Island looks in this movie. And I'm surprised that it took about 2 months for Mewtwo to create it, along with the underground lab. Now, I need to mention a few flaws this movie has. For example, this movie does not really define the cloning process correctly. You see, while films like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Star Wars Episode 2 pretty much got the idea of cloning done right, in this movie, it's pretty much, well, known as eugenics, due to the fact that Mewtwo is a completely different life form compared to Mew. Plus, several Pokemon are mispronounced. Like, Cory mispronounces his Pidgeot as a Pidgeotto. Jessie and James think that a silhouette of a Scyther looks like an Alakazam, and Meowth thought that a Sandslash was a Sandshrew. Also to note, the battle between all the Pokemon clones and the originals kind of drags the movie for me. Lastly, the ending is pretty stupid, with everybody losing their memories of what happened on New Island. Also to note, and these are not flaws this time, in the Pokemon games, Mewtwo was created in a lab on Cinnabar Island. However, in this movie, the lab is on a completely different and smaller island. And as a kid, I didn't even realize that the scientists who created Mewtwo were working for Team Rocket's leader, Giovanni. What's also interesting is that, according to the harbor manager, Miranda, the storm that Mewtwo conjures up was known as the Winds of Water, which wiped out all life in the world except for a few Pokemon, though their sorrow and tears somehow revived everything. But the most memorable scenes in this movie are the part where Ash, Misty, Brock, and Pikachu use Staryu and Squirtle to get to New Island, the part where Team Rocket play Who's That Pokemon in the lab, and the scene where Ash battles a pirate trainer named Raymond, who introduces the Pokemon fans to Donphan, which was a Pokemon that wouldn't be introduced until Generation 2. He even has a Machamp, a Golem, a Pinsir, and a Venomoth. But the most heartbreaking scene in this movie is when Ash gets hit by Mewtwo and Mew's Psychic Blast, which petrifies him, and it's followed by Pikachu and the other Pokemon crying in order to resurrect him. There's even a scene where Ash mentions Minnesota. I know it sounds kind of weird, but then again, the Pokemon TV show did mention other American places like Las Vegas, Miami Beach, and they even went to Hollywood in one episode. Also, this movie has a very interesting soundtrack, with songs like the Pokemon theme song, Gotta Catch 'Em All, sung by Billy Crawford, Don't Say You Love Me by M2M, and It Was You by Ashley Ballard with So Plush. The soundtrack also includes other artists like NSYNC, Christina Aguilera, Aaron Carter, Britney Spears, Vitamin C, and more. Now let's move on to the characters and their English voice actors. Let's begin with Ash Ketchum, voiced by the classic Veronica Taylor, who also got to voice in Sailor Moon and Nana 7 of 7. While Ash is determined to become the world's greatest Pokemon master, in this movie, sometimes Ash can be either really brave or really stupid. Like when he dives into the lab to save Pikachu and the other Pokemon from Mewtwo's dark Pokeballs, and when he sacrifices himself to save the Pokemon. I also like the part where Ash mentioned the day when he saw Ho-Oh on the day when he left Pallet Town. Also in this movie, Ash's Pokemon consist of his brave and loyal Bulbasaur, his mischievous Squirtle, and his stubborn and disobedient Charizard. Though, I wish Ash could have used his Pidgeotto in this movie. Ash's best friend, Pikachu, is vocalized by the beloved Iku Otani. To me, Pikachu is still a great Pokemon to have as a friend, and in this movie, I do like the part when Pikachu stands up to Mewtwo, and when it refuses to fight its cloned counterpart. Plus, when I saw this movie in theaters, the scene where Pikachu cries made me want to cry too. Next we come to Ash's traveling companions, Misty and Brock, voiced by Rachel Lillis and Eric Stewart. Now, we all know these guys as the gym leaders of Cerulean City and Pewter City. Anyway, in my opinion, Misty is an okay traveling companion when she's not scolding Ash at times. Plus, her Togepi may be cute, but it sometimes gets Pikachu into some trouble when it tries to keep Togepi out of danger. And I think Brock is a great best friend, and he makes a great Pokemon breeder. And he's also a great cook, too. And while I don't like it when Brock goes girl crazy, I'm happy that he doesn't do that here. Plus, the only Pokemon that Misty and Brock use in this movie are Staryu, Psyduck, and Vulpix. Though, I wonder why they didn't use Geodude, Onix, Goldeen, or Zubat. Next we have Team Rocket's Jessie and James, also voiced by Rachel Lillis and Eric Stewart, along with Meowth, voiced by the late Maddie Blaustein, who also voices Raymond the Pirate. In this movie, these three clowns seem to be up to their usual pranks at trying to steal Pikachu. However, later in the movie, they offer to sail our main heroes to New Island while disguised as Vikings. When they arrive on New Island with some help from James's wheezing, they snoop around the lab where they accidentally have Meowth cloned, and they listen to Dr. Fuji's message on the cloning machine. Next, we have the three other trainers that were invited to New Island. First, we have Fergus, voiced by Jimmy Zopie, aka Carter Cathcart, who would later voice James and Meowth in later seasons. To me, Fergus seems like a tough individual, and he's often seen with his arms crossed over. He deeply cares for his Pokemon, most of which are water types, and he's particularly proud of his tamed Gyarados, which serves as a testament to his skill, as Gyarados are normally very difficult to tame and thus train. Also, aside from his Gyarados, his other Pokemon are Nidoqueen, Vaporeon, Tentacruel, Golduck, and Seadra. Then we have Cory, voiced by Ed Paul. This boy is a confident individual, and he proudly boasts about the strength of his Pokemon when Ash and his friends first arrive on New Island. He takes charge of the situation and is prepared to fight back. However, Cory can be impulsive, as shown when he has his Rhyhorn charge at Mewtwo, and when he was the first to challenge the genetic Pokemon's cloned Pokemon. Cory's other Pokemon include Venusaur, which is nicknamed Brootroot, Pidgeot, Scyther, Hitmonlee, and Sandslash. And of course we come to Nisha, voiced by Lisa Ortiz, who also voiced Lisa in Pokemon 3 Spell of the Unknown. To me, Nisha is a calm and approachable person. She carries herself confidently, though she also does not show off. But she does show a very streak of determination during battle. Her Pokemon include Dugong, Wigglytuff, Vileplume, Ninetales, Blastoise, which is nicknamed Shellshocker, and Rapidash. Next up, we come to our title Pokemon and main villain, Mewtwo, voiced by Philip Bartlett, who got to be in Law and Order. Plus, Bartlett also voices Dr. Fuji in the movie. Fun fact, a while ago, I heard that Mewtwo was inspired by a video game character called Gygas from the Mother games. Also, ever since I was a kid, I still wonder, what the hell is that thing that connects from Mewtwo's body all the way up to its head? I mean, is it a tube that transfers nutrients to its brain? Anyway, in my opinion, Mewtwo's motivations for being evil is very understandable, due to its training with Giovanni at the Viridian Gym, but after realizing that the evil Team Rocket leader was using him for his evil deeds, Mewtwo saw all humans as its enemy, and he believed that humans and Pokemon could never be friends. In my opinion, like all Psychic-type Pokemon in the anime, Mewtwo's attacks are treated like traditional psychic abilities, like telekinesis, mind shields, and mind blasts. Also, while most of Mewtwo's cloned Pokemon look very similar to their original counterparts, the ones that look slightly different are Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, as well as Meowth and Pikachu. Also, Mewtwo had 2 other Pokemon working for it. For example, a Fearow with a camera around its neck was scouting out Pokemon trainers, and a Dragonite is seen delivering invitations to Mewtwo's palace. Plus, I do like that Mewtwo decides to change its ways after Ash's sacrifice. Our next Pokemon to talk about is Mew, vocalized by Koichi Yamadera. Now, this Mew isn't the same as the one from Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, nor can it be the same Mew whose eyelash was used to create Mewtwo. In my opinion, this Mew has a very playful and curious nature, and it prefers having fun over fighting, like when it follows Team Rocket into the lab and saves Ash from getting knocked into the palace tower. But Mew does show a serious side while battling Mewtwo. Also, ever since I saw this movie in theaters, I felt that every time Mew talks, it sounds like a cat, in a way. Plus, I like the fact that Mew was trying to defend the original uncloned Pokemon, believing them to be just as good, if not better than the clones. The last character to talk about is Nurse Joy, voiced by Megan Hollingshead. Like Officer Jenny, there are so many Nurse Joys throughout the anime. I mean, yes, they all have the same name and they're all identical, but the only difference is they are sisters and cousins. Anyway, this Joy was kidnapped and hypnotized by Mewtwo a month prior. Her medical expertise and Pokemon knowledge was pivotal to the success of Mewtwo's cloning operation on New Island. To me, Nurse Joy has a heart of gold, and she seems to care deeply for the Pokemon she treats at the Pokemon Center. However, during the battles in this movie, Joy watches in horror, and she wants it all to end. At the end of the movie, Joy is seen helping other trainers while they sought refuge from the storm. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, is a pretty good movie, and while I am glad that it made me into a Pokemon fan, kind of like My Little Pony the movie got me into Friendship is Magic, this film still could have been done better. I mean, yes, the movie has great animation, and several characters like Ash, Misty, Brock, and Pikachu are very memorable. The other Pokemon featured in this movie bring back lots of childhood memories from the Kanto games, and it has a very underrated soundtrack. However, there are several plot holes and silly moments in this movie, with some parts that can be very dark for a kid's film. Plus, several Pokemon are misnamed here, and the ending is absolutely stupid. However, if you want to watch this movie, then sure, go right ahead. But I highly recommend that you folks watch this along with its sequel, Mewtwo Returns, together for a better experience. Speaking of which, will I be able to blog Mewtwo Returns? Well, my answer is maybe, but I'm not sure when though. As for my final rating, I give Mewtwo Strikes Back a 62% out of 100. Well, that's all for today. Be sure to tune in again next time. Mustang Power!